Hello and welcome to this video on anomie and strain theory. This video is for the criminology class. We're going to begin the video by talking about Emil Durkheim and anomie. Durkheim defined anomie as a weakening of the collective consciousness. The norms of society begin to disintegrate due to changes in the division of labor brought about by the early stages of the Industrial Revolution. It was a sense of normlessness that extended beyond crime. Durkheim published a famous book on suicide, and he believed that this sense of normlessness extended to suicide as well. It is important to understand the socio-historical context of strain theory. The Roaring Twenties laid a foundation for the development of strain theory through the 1930s and 1940s. F. Scott Fitzgerald published The Great Gatsby, detailing the excesses of the Roaring Twenties in the fictional tale of J. Gatsby. During that decade, the Bullshit Act, which created a constitutional amendment outlawing the sale and possession of alcohol in the U.S., was in full force. Prohibition resulted in a growth of organized crime. The decade was marked by extreme decadence, and stocks were bought on credit. The banks were unregulated. In short, people became obsessed with stuff. Consumerism grew in the 1920s. The Industrial Revolution brought about the availability of consumer goods to make life easier. The automobile made transportation quicker. Products to make life convenient were proliferating. Americans wanted more stuff. They wanted people to know they had stuff. On October 29, 1929, the stock market crashed on a day that is known as Black Tuesday. In the decade leading up to the crash of the stock market, Americans purchased the American dream on credit. With the sudden crash of the stock market, most Americans were plunged into extreme poverty. Organized crime, which was strengthened during the Roaring Twenties, became even stronger during the Great Depression. But perhaps the concept of the American dream is the most important of the historical contexts for strain theory. According to the American dream, if you work hard and pay your dues, you will have the house, the family, the car, the reason people immigrate to the U.S. For Merton, the American dream was universal. Merton was born in 1910. He began his study of criminology in the 1930s and was publishing by the 1940s. He was heavily influenced by Durkheim, and his theory is one of the most cited of the criminological literature. As we look at the definition of strain, we see the differences between Durkheim and Merton. For Durkheim, strain was created by the rapid changes caused by the Industrial Revolution. That strain was directly related to the fracture between the division of labor between the factory owner and the factory worker. For Merton, the strain was caused by an overemphasis on material goods, the American dream, coupled with a de-emphasis on the conventional methods for obtaining those goods. The way I put it is that the American dream was being bought on credit rather than by hard work. That is, Merton redefined what anomie means. It is a disequilibrium and emphasis between goals and the means of obtaining those goals in society. For Merton, society was changing too fast to maintain its regulatory control over its members. Crime occurs when the individual realizes that the American dream, through conventional means, is a lie. In this slide, you can see Merton's 5 types of adaptation to strain. These types are identified on whether the individual accepts or rejects the normative goals and the normative means for achieving those goals. As you can see, the conformist accepts both and is therefore unlikely to commit crime. It is important to understand we are talking about likelihood, not certainty, of committing criminal acts. The innovator accepts the normative cultural goals, but rejects the normative means of achieving those goals and is likely to commit crime. Think in terms of the white-collar criminal who wants the American dream but wants a shortcut. The ritualist rejects the goals but accepts the normative means and is unlikely to commit crime. The retreatist rejects both and is likely to commit crime. The rebel rejects and replaces both and is likely to commit crime. Robert Agnew updated strain theory in the 80s and 90s. Agnew assumes that people of all social classes and economic positions deal with frustrations in their daily life. We can all relate to that. Agnew identified 3 categories of strain. The first is failure to achieve positively valued goals. The second is the presentation of innoxious stimuli. This is similar to positive reinforcement in behavioral psychology in that it is the addition of something that reinforces criminal behavior. The third is removal of positively valued stimuli, which is similar to negative reinforcement in behavioral psychology, because the removal of something relates to criminal behavior. For Agnew, individuals either find a positive or a negative way of dealing with the strain. This slide provides a flow chart of Agnew's strain theory. On the left are the 3 types of strain that were just mentioned: failure to achieve positively valued goals, introduction of noxious stimuli, and removal of positively valued stimuli. This leads to strain and frustration, which leads to anger and other painful emotions. Agnew uses the term negative emotions. This is a false dichotomy to see emotions as either positive or negative. All emotions serve a positive function. However, some are pleasurable, some are painful, and some are neutral. Because this chart is about criminal acts, the pathway of positive coping is not included. The anger and other painful emotions in the criminal pathway result in a lack of legal coping mechanisms. When there is a lack of legal coping mechanisms, actus reus is likely to occur. Actus reus is the Latin term for the criminal act. Strain theory has implications for policy. Educational policies are developed in part with strain theory in mind. For example, the Second Chance Pell Grant provides an opportunity for individuals who are incarcerated to get their college degree, which we know will reduce their likelihood of committing more crime. Vocational policies are also being implemented, such as ban the box. This is a move to remove from employment application forms the checkbox for applicants to identify they have been convicted of a felony. Social welfare programs are in part developed as crime reduction measures. If a probation or parole officer understands the types of strain and the role they play in recidivism, the officer can help those individuals under their supervision succeed in the community. If the criminal justice system would focus on strengthening programs for transitioning from prison or jail to the community, the strain could be reduced, which reduces the likelihood of a new criminal act. We will see you next video.